In March 2013, a quiet man from Passaic, New Jersey became one of the most talked about lottery winners in the world. His name was Pedro Quezada, a Dominican-born father and hardworking corner store owner known in his neighborhood for his smile, his work ethic, and his generosity. For years, Pedro ran a small bodega called Eagle Liquors, working long days behind the counter and struggling to make ends meet for his family. Then, in one incredible twist of fate, his life changed forever. On March 23, 2013, Pedro matched all 6 numbers in the Powerball drawing worth $338 million. It was one of the largest jackpots in New Jersey history, and overnight, the humble shopkeeper became a multimillionaire. When reporters swarmed his store, Pedro was stunned. He told them through an interpreter that he still couldn't believe it was real. He said he would use the money to help his family and his community. He chose the lump sum option, taking home about $152 million after taxes. The world fell in love with his story, an immigrant who worked hard, struggled honestly, and finally got his piece of the American dream. Newspapers called him the luckiest bodega owner. Television crews camped outside his home. Neighbors cheered. Customers who had once borrowed groceries on credit now watched in awe as Pedro smiled for the cameras, holding the giant check that symbolized his new life. For a while, it looked like a dream come true. But as it so often happens with lottery winners, what followed would prove that sudden wealth can bring more problems than peace. Just days after collecting his prize, news surfaced that Pedro owed about $29,000 in unpaid child support from a previous relationship. Authorities briefly held him on the debt, which he quickly repaid using part of his new fortune. The incident was small but symbolic, a hint that his new wealth would not come without complications. Soon after, Pedro's personal life made headlines again. He lived with Ines Sanchez, his longtime girlfriend and mother figure to their blended family of 5 children. They had spent nearly a decade together before the win, sharing bills, love, and responsibility. Many assumed the jackpot belonged to them both. At first, things seemed fine. Pedro said he planned to buy a bigger home and take care of everyone. But the stress of attention, money, and expectations quickly took a toll. By mid-2013, the relationship had fractured. Police were called to their home during an argument, and the couple eventually separated. Then came the lawsuit. In 2014, Ines Sanchez sued Pedro, claiming that as his common-law partner, she was entitled to half of his lottery winnings. She argued they had lived as husband and wife, raised children together, and shared expenses, therefore the money should be considered theirs jointly. Pedro denied the claim, saying the ticket was purchased solely by him, and that New Jersey does not recognize common-law marriage. The court agreed. The judge dismissed the case, ruling that Sanchez had no legal right to his fortune. The ruling ended the legal fight but also closed a chapter of their lives that had once been filled with love and hope. After that, Pedro faded from public view. For a time, people wondered how he was doing, whether he had invested wisely, donated to charities, or built a new life quietly somewhere else. But by 2017, his name would return to headlines again, this time for something far darker. That year, the Passaic County Prosecutor's Office charged Pedro Quezada with 2 counts of first-degree aggravated sexual assault, 2 counts of second-degree sexual assault, and 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child. According to prosecutors, the alleged victim was a young girl between 11 and 14 years old at the time of the assaults. The news shocked everyone who remembered him as the friendly store owner who once seemed blessed beyond measure. Headlines that had once read "Luckiest Man in New Jersey" were now replaced by stories of criminal charges and disgrace. Prosecutors said the alleged assaults took place over several years at a residence in Wayne, New Jersey. Pedro was arrested and held pending trial. Each of the first-degree charges carried a possible sentence of up to 20 years in prison, meaning that if convicted, he could have spent much of the rest of his life behind bars. The story that had begun with cameras flashing and confetti falling had now turned into something no one could have imagined, a fall from grace so dramatic it seemed unreal. From 2017 onward, information about the case became limited. Some court filings were sealed, and local officials stopped giving public updates as the legal process continued. As of 2025, there have been no publicly available reports confirming a verdict or sentencing. What's known is that Pedro faced these charges and that his once celebrated life went completely quiet afterward. He has not appeared in major interviews since. His social media presence is non-existent, and there have been no verified updates on where he lives, whether he retained any of his fortune, or if he ever returned to public life. For a man who once represented hope and opportunity, the silence that followed tells its own story. The Powerball win that should have brought lifelong security instead brought waves of scrutiny, heartbreak, and scandal. In the years since his arrest, Pedro Quezada's name has become a cautionary example of how quickly fame can fade and fortune can become meaningless. The same public that once praised his luck later watched in disbelief as his reputation unraveled. While the criminal case remains unresolved in public record, his story now serves as a stark reminder that winning the lottery does not guarantee happiness, or even safety from oneself. When people look back on Pedro's journey, they see a man who experienced every extreme the lottery can bring: poverty to riches, love to loss, and admiration to infamy. It's a story of how fortune amplifies everything, the good, the bad, and the hidden parts of a person's life. Neighbors once said that before he won, Pedro was content just running his store and providing for his family. Afterward, he seemed overwhelmed, trapped between the generosity he wanted to share and the chaos that surrounded him. The peace he had sought through hard work was lost the moment his numbers matched. In one interview shortly after his win, he said, "Money brings problems. You think it will make you happy, but it doesn't fix what's inside people's hearts." Looking back now, those words feel prophetic. For some, Pedro's story is about bad luck. For others, it's about how sudden wealth can magnify personal flaws and attract trouble that would never have appeared otherwise. But beyond opinions and headlines, it's a human story, of a man who once represented the American dream and ended up serving as its warning. Today, his exact circumstances remain uncertain. There are no verified reports confirming what became of his fortune, his legal outcome, or his personal life. What is certain is that his name, once synonymous with unimaginable luck, will forever be tied to one of the most complicated and tragic post-lottery stories in modern history. If you found this story eye-opening, make sure to subscribe to True Lottery Stories, where we reveal the real lives behind the world's biggest jackpot winners, and the unexpected turns that follow. True stories. Real winners. Real consequences. Subscribe now to discover what really happens after the jackpot.